So we're down with the layers, and I have thrown in the old pepper plants. So these are the peppers that I had this year. And I find, obviously, if I shove this on the compost heap like this, that is just not going to break down. It's going to take so long, it's going to be ridiculous. So what I do is I throw it into the chickens, and look what they do. They scratch all of the soil out, they find any goodies and wood lice and ants and things that are in there, and they eat those, and they basically do this job of breaking it down for me. So now this is going to break down much easier on the compost heap when this is all cut up. Plus, they love it. It's a bit of enrichment for them, a bit of something to do, especially now we're in winter, autumn, winter, and they haven't got so much sun and dust bathing and stuff to do. Instead, they just have fun scratching all the roots out of these pots. I do the same with the tomatoes as well. So these are the peppers and the aubergines that are in here. And they just have a fun old time breaking everything apart. Now yes, for the keen-eyed of you, that is a toilet roll. We are in my bathroom, and I don't just bring anybody to my bathroom. But these are some of my indoor plants, and I've got a spider plant up here. And basically this bathroom is horrible. You can see these horrible tiles. It's really old, we don't have any money to do it up, so we're just trying to cover everything in plants. And the idea will be also is we're going to get more pots that we can stick to the walls and put spider plants, so we'll have spider plants all along here, and we'll just have tons and tons of plants everywhere. But one thing we have come across, which is a bit of a nuisance, is we have come across those horrible little compost flies. Now compost flies are tiny. If I move my hand around, can we find, there's one on the window. Just here, you can see. Now they are tiny, they don't do anything bad, but they have just been a nuisance, and we've had a population explosion in here. And I think last night I came in and I killed almost 60 compost flies. Now they live in compost, they lay their eggs on the surface of the compost. You can see they're moving around there a little bit. There's quite a few bits moving around. The maggots just eat the compost. They eat like fungi in the compost, so they don't do any damage to the plants, but they're just horrible. So we're trying cinnamon. Apparently if you spread some cinnamon on the surface, it doesn't, they don't like that. They also don't like dry compost to lay in. So your best bet is to water from the base. So water from the base and let the plants draw it up rather than the top, because if you water it in the top and you have moist soil, that gives the eggs and the larvae a chance to grow. And then the other thing is using gravel. So we're also topping some of the plants in gravel to try and put them off. And I think that has worked, because in this butterfly fern, it hasn't really been as bad. It really hasn't been as bad, the amount of gnats coming out. Then this one has just been horrendous, and I think this is because it's next to the shower, so it constantly gets moist. So if you've got any ideas for getting rid of compost flies, please let me know. We're also going to get some indoor carnivorous plants in here as well to help stave it off, because if we are going to cover the entire bathroom in plants, the windowsill, the walls, you know, tie them to the tiles and have them coming down, then we really do need to get to grips with how to stop these pesky little flies from taking hold. I thought I'd give you a quick update on Barry and his ladies. And actually you can see the toasty flavour there. So that's Gertrude, who is in front of Barry right this second and now turning around to show us her butt. That is the mum, Gertrude, and there is obviously Barry. Now you may notice that Barry has actually got a crow collar on at the moment, and that's because he was just doing my head in. I'm not a massive fan of crow collars, because I do believe that if you're not careful with them and you don't constantly check them, they can actually kill your rooster. But Barry was just driving me utterly mad. I pick him up and bring him into the house every single night, so I get that chance then to check that the collar is not too tight and he's all right. And also I'm around a lot in the daytime as well, so I can always check on things. But I think you can clearly see in this autumn sun some of the toasty effect on them, which is really rather nice. He's got a little bit there in his tail. Most of it is in his hackle feathers around his neck. And then we've obviously got the girls with their red heads in the background. They're just eating some beet leaves that I gave them. Hello, Barry.
He's also losing a few feathers around his neck there. Now that is not where the crow collar is. I'm not sure why or what is causing that. It might be when he goes into the sleep box at night. He's having a few words with the other cockerels. But it's a lovely, beautiful day. He's chilling out with his girls. And actually also, since he's had the crow collar on, he's become less aggressive towards me as well. So it's been a bonus all round, hasn't it, Barry?
Well, it's looking like we're going to have a frost tonight, so I've decided that it's time to bring the tender plants in. So this tree fern, you could leave it outside if you wrapped it. So the most vulnerable part is this section, especially in here. If that gets cold and wet, it will rot. So what people often do when they've got the big varieties, really tall ones, they wrap this in some cladding, not cladding, some cloth. They put some straw inside here and keep that dry and keep the whole thing. These are fine if they get frosted, and some people actually fold them over, and again this is fine as well. However, as it's still small, I just decided to bring it into the conservatory. It gives some greenery throughout the winter and makes this a bit more tropical in here. I've also brought the banana in. Now again, some bananas can stay outside, but this is an Ensete variety. It's an Abyssinian banana. It's very frost tender, so this is brought in as well. And then normal things like the lantana and the begonias and stuff stay in here all year round, so that's not a problem. These will continue to grow because they're not outside and they're not wrapped and it's going to be really, really cold. You will find that you probably will get some more leaf growth. You can already see there's a new leaf coming up here. And you may find that a few more fronds come out from this tree fern as well, from that central part. But they'll slow their growing, of course, but they'll offer some greenery in here and they'll keep it nice and lush throughout the winter months.
So today I am sorting out all the Sarracenias and the Venus flytraps and the sundews. Now you might not believe it, but these actually survive all winter outside. And I leave all of this dead stuff on to give the crowns and the central of the plant some protection. So I won't cut off any of these old stems until next year. And then what you'll find is at the beginning of next year, in the base here, all these new flutes like this will come out, and then I will take off all the dead stuff and clean up. I'll leave the flower stalks on even, but what I will do at this time of year is weed. You can see there's quite a few weeds that I've got in here. So I'll be pulling those out. There's actually a self-seeded buddleia here. And then the other thing is to make sure, if you've got them in pots like this, to make sure they stay moist. So you want to water with rainwater if possible, so from the water butt. And I just keep everything really, really wet. You basically want to try and reproduce their native system where they would be in bogs. And then of course in the winter it would become very boggy, so very wet. So I try and give them a bit more moisture in the winter months, and keep an eye on them, make sure they're well watered. And then in the spring, I'll come in and clean all of this off. And I will split them as well, because look how much they've grown. So I'll probably split them as well into individual varieties. But I do just love them.
So I've just got back from shopping and I wanted to show you a little bargain I found. These are really, really great cloth bags. They're for vegetables, so like root vegetables or peppers, potatoes, beets, that sort of thing. They were £1 in Pound Stretcher, but actually they're 50p in my local one. So basically they're just a cloth tote. They are lined and then they have a zipper in the side. So it basically means you can stuff this full of veggies, hang them, and then get the food out the side. And I'll show you because I've got one over here. So all those peppers I put up last week, I've put into this tote bag. It's hanging, so it hangs on the wall. And then all you do is you unzip to retrieve your peppers. Isn't that good? Now, obviously, you want to store them probably in a cooler place than your kitchen. If you're going to hang them for long times, maybe in a garage or in you know, a cold room. But I thought they were really, really good. And for 50p, awesome. So if you've got Pound Stretcher near you, go and get some. And also, you could use them for Christmas gifts because they'd be really, really good for that. Well, today I am down in the greenhouse sorting out a few plants. So these are the heucheras that we did last Friday. And you can see these are the ones that I actually left for 24 hours and they'd completely dried out. But look, they have come back okay. So now they're planted, they're good. So most of these plants are going to be going up to the farm. So I've got some pheasant grass here. I've got, these are the buddleia cuttings I took. I've got some, I think these are date palms. They self-seeded in a client's garden and she let me take them. So I've got 4 of them, although this one's tiny there. I've got some lavender, I've got some more of the buddleia cuttings, the heucheras I talked about. These are the osteospermum cuttings. I've used a few out the front. Now, I've kept them in the greenhouse just because they're small rooting plants. I won't actually be closing the door, so I'll be allowing the frost to get in to help kill bugs and things off. But just keeping them under cover means snow won't fall on them and, you know, they won't get really, really heavily frosted. So it allows all these little baby roots to have a chance to grow without that extreme temperature. But I don't want to close the door and the window in here because then that helps all the horrible critters, aphids and things like that proliferate. So they've just been kept in here over winter and they're going to get all the coldness from outside. And then next year, when it all gets warm, they will be coming up to the farm and being planted in various places like the ornamental meadow, around the nuttery, around the pond.